You are standing beneath armor that has become an oven. Your breath scrapes your throat raw. Your legs shake, not from fear alone, but from hunger, fever, old wounds that never closed. The mountain air is thin, yet it crushes your lungs. You are already failing. The weight on your shoulders is not just steel, it is time. It is pursuit. It is the knowledge that if you sit down even for a moment, you will not stand again. Ahead of you, the valley narrows.
Steady now.
Dust hangs unmoving, as if the
For
earth
victory!
itself is holding its breath. Somewhere beyond that haze waits an army that should not be stoppable. They are many. You are not. The numbers have been counted too many times to be mistaken. 20,000 Mongols. Perhaps more. You can gather. If every banner answers, if no one deserts in the night, 10,000 at best. And those are not soldiers in the same sense. They are refugees with weapons, survivors with scars, men who have watched cities burn and learned what screaming sounds like when it never ends. 2 to 1. But that is a lie, because their 20,000 are veterans of annihilation. Yours are remnants of collapse. By every measure that matters, discipline, supply, morale, momentum, this should end in erasure, and yet it will not. That is the paradox that already exists in the air, unspoken but heavy as thunder. Logic denies it. History denies it. God, it seems, denies it. But it will happen, not yet, not explained, only promised. Your name is spoken carefully behind you, as though saying it too loudly might break what little remains. Jalal ad-Din, son of a fallen empire, heir to ashes. You feel the title more than hear it, pressing between your shoulder blades like a blade. Your body is a map of loss, a leg that never healed straight, a side that burns when you breathe too deeply, fever that comes and goes, leaving you drenched in sweat, even in the cold. Your hands tremble when you remove your gloves, the skin cracked, the nails broken. You have not slept properly in weeks. Survival itself has become improbable. Across the valley, the enemy prepares with quiet efficiency. There is no panic there, no shouting, no prayers cried into the sky. Mongol officers move among their ranks like craftsmen inspecting tools. Horses are fed, watered, brushed. Bows are restrung, quivers counted. This is not cruelty, this is competence. Their commanders are healthy, federal, rested. Their armor fits. Their horses are strong. They have won every engagement that mattered. Cities larger than imagination have collapsed behind them like rotted doors. Their leader does not need to boast. His reputation arrives before him. The Mongol war machine does not rage, it calculates. It does not hate, it finishes. That is what you face. Behind you, your camp is already breaking apart in spirit. Men argue in low voices. Some sharpen blades they will not have time to use. Others sit with heads bowed, whispering farewells to wives not present, children not yet grown. Advisors approach you with measured words that mean surrender, or retreat, or delay. Live, they say without saying it. Preserve what remains. Do not make this the place where everything ends. Civilians gather their belongings farther back, what little they have left after months of flight. Mothers count children again and again. Old men stare at the mountains as if they might open and swallow them. The world is already preparing for your defeat. Armor clangs nearby, the sound sharp and wrong in the thin air. A helmet rolls in the dust, and no one rushes to retrieve it. Discipline frays not with noise, but with hesitation. Every physical thing around you mirrors the moment. The valley is too narrow, like the future. The slopes too steep, like escape, the dust too thick, like certainty, and above it all the weather refuses to behave. Clouds move against the wind, the light dulls, then brightens, then dulls again. Even the sky seems undecided. You know, three things must be understood to comprehend what is about to happen. Three truths that will defy expectation. Three reasons this day will echo far beyond these mountains. You will not hear them yet. Because first comes the choice. Your body begs you to rest. Your advisors beg you to withdraw. Your reason, trained by defeat after defeat, calculates survival through avoidance. But leadership is not reason alone, it is burden. If you retreat again, the flight will never end. If you scatter, the Mongols will hunt you down one by one. If you surrender, the idea of resistance dies, not just here, but everywhere your name has reached. This is larger than you now, larger than your pain. It is about whether fear is allowed to finalize history. You look again at the valley. You imagine the arrows falling like rain, blotting out sound, blotting out men. You imagine the weight of horses crashing through lines that cannot hold. You imagine dying here. That thought does not frighten you as it once did. What frightens you is dying without choosing. So you make the decision that will be remembered longer than the battle itself. A decision that looks irrational, suicidal, almost obscene in the face of mathematics. You will stand. You will fight them here, where their numbers cannot fully unfold, where their horses cannot swarm, where their certainty must compress into something brittle. It is not strategy yet. It is defiance given form. Word spreads through the camp slowly, like warmth returning to numb fingers. Men straighten, voices lower, movements gain purpose. Fear does not vanish, but it is joined by something heavier, resolve. The Mongol scouts notice the change. They see lines forming instead of fleeing. They see banners lifting instead of folding. For the first time, calculation must adjust. Across the valley, two forces stare at each other, suspended at the edge of collision. History holds its breath. Your armor still burns. Your wounds still ache. Your body is still failing. But the choice is made, and once made, it cannot be undone. Your boots grind against loose shale as you guide the first ranks upward, not toward the valley floor, but along its broken ribs. The slope tears at calves and breath alike. Men curse under their breath, not in fear, but in effort. Armor catches on rock. Shields scrape. Every step costs more than it should. This is deliberate. Below you, the Mongol horns sound, not in alarm, but in recognition. They see the shape forming and understand its intent immediately. That is what makes it frightening. There is no confusion, no hesitation. They are not surprised, they are curious. Their cavalry begins to spread, seeking space, seeking the open ground where annihilation is routine. But the valley denies them. The walls press inward. The river cuts shallow but sharp. What should be freedom becomes congestion. Numbers compress. 20,000 bodies cannot breathe here. Still, it is more than enough. Arrows begin to fall, not in volleys yet. Testing shots, ranging the distance. You hear the sound before you feel it. The dry insect hum of shafts slicing air. One strikes a shield near your head, the impact jarring your teeth together. Another finds flesh behind you. A man gasps once, surprised, then goes quiet. No one stops. The slope steals momentum from horses. Mongol riders dismount with practiced ease, bows already in hand. They advance on foot, loose and disciplined, their faces calm, eyes measuring. This is not desperation. This is adjustment. Your men feel it. You can sense the moment when confidence threatens to thin, when they remember who stands opposite them. When the past months return, the burned mosques, the leveled cities, the stories that arrived ahead of the Mongols like smoke, you raise your arm, not to charge, not to retreat, to hold. The order travels down the line in gestures, in eye contact, in the set of shoulders. Wait, endure, let them come closer, let the valley finish what fear began. Minutes stretch unnaturally long. Sweat runs into your eyes. Your vision blurs, then sharpens again. Fever flickers. You taste metal. Then it begins. The Mongol infantry presses in, arrows loosed at closer range now. Shields lift, men fall, others step over them without breaking stride. The sound changes from distant hum to intimate violence. Wood splintering, iron ringing, breath tearing free from lungs. You draw your sword, and the weight nearly pulls it from your grasp. Your arm is weaker than it should be. You compensate with timing, with economy, no wasted motion, no flourish. The first man reaches you, then the second. There is no space for cavalry charges here, no room for the storm that usually ends battles before they begin. This becomes something older, something closer. Shields slam, blades lock, men strain face to face, smelling each other's breath. The Mongols are still better trained, faster, stronger, but they are no longer infinite. You see it in their eyes, the recalculation. The numbers are still on their side, but the certainty is not. They expected collapse. They find resistance that refuses to behave. You are everywhere you should not be. On foot, in the press, taking blows meant for others. Your armor dents, your leg gives once, briefly, and a man hauls you upright before you fall. Blood slicks the stones, it makes footing treacherous, it makes every movement costly, and still you hold. This is the first truth, though you will not name it yet. The valley is not neutral. It is an ally that charges no allegiance. Hours grind past, the sun climbs, then begins its slow descent. Bodies pile where space is already scarce. The Mongols rotate men with brutal efficiency. Fresh fighters replace the fallen. Your forces cannot do this as cleanly. Fatigue becomes a weapon wielded by time itself. An advisor reaches you, shouting over the din, voice hoarse. "We cannot sustain this." You know, they do not know something else yet. You signal again. This time, movement ripples along the ridges. Stones begin to shift, not by accident, not by nature. Men you placed before dawn, men with no armor, only strength and resolve. Push. The mountains answer. Rocks break free and tumble, then leap, then roar. They smash into the packed Mongol formations below, shattering cohesion, crushing bodies, turning discipline into chaos. Horses scream. Men scatter where there is nowhere to scatter to. For the first time, Mongol horns sound urgency. This is not victory, not yet. But it is disruption. It is the interruption of inevitability. You feel the shift like a change in pressure. Your men feel it too. A sound rises. Not a cheer, but a growl. Something feral and restrained finally. A loud breath. You press, not recklessly, precisely. Blades find gaps. Shields bash faces. The Mongols fight back with lethal calm, but now they must react instead of dictate. Every step forward costs them more than it should. Still, The weight of numbers bears down. For every Mongol that falls, another replaces him. Your losses are heavier, your lines thin. This is where most battles end. This is where yours should end. And yet, a messenger crashes through the press, nearly falling at your feet. His eyes are wide, his face streaked with blood, not his own. "Their commander," he shouts, "wounded, not dead, but pulled back." The words land like a physical blow. This is the second truth, still unspoken. Momentum is a living thing. Wound it, and it bleeds everywhere. Across the field, you see it. Subtle, but unmistakable. Mongol movements lose their perfect synchronization. Orders lag. Units hesitate for half a heartbeat too long. Half a heartbeat is everything. You are barely standing now. Your vision tunnels, sounds muffle. Your sword feels impossibly heavy. Each breath is an act of will. But the men around you look different. Straighter, louder. They believe not in survival, but in meaning. The valley is a slaughterhouse. The river runs darker. The sky is dimmed to bronze. You know this cannot last forever. You know the Mongols will adapt again. You know the math still favors them. So you make another decision. You will not wait for night. You will not consolidate. You will gamble what remains. You raise your sword one final time, and this time you point forward. The line surges, not in triumph, but in desperation sharpened into purpose. You are carried with it, or perhaps you carry it. There is no difference anymore. Steel meets steel. Shouts tear the air. The world contracts to impact and effort and pain. This is where history balances on its edge. This is where the impossible demands payment, and the valley listens. Night does not arrive gently. It falls. The light drains from the valley as if pulled through a wound. Shadows lengthen, then merge until men fight shapes instead of faces. Torches flare, sputter, die. Smoke hangs low, trapping breath. Every sound, steel, bone, prayer, feels too loud, as if the mountains themselves might crack from listening. You are barely aware of your own body now. Pain has become distant, abstract. Your leg drags. Your left arm responds a heartbeat late. Blood, yours, others, has cooled and stiffened your armor until it feels fused to you. And yet you are still here. So are they. The Mongols pull back in stages, not fleeing, not collapsing, reforming. That is what makes this moment so dangerous. A wounded beast that still thinks is more lethal than one in panic. Orders ripple through their ranks. You see them consolidating toward open ground beyond the valley's choke. If they reach it intact, the old laws return. Horses will run. Arrows will fall without end. The day will finish as it was always meant to. This is the last narrowing. Your advisors know it. You can see it in their eyes when they find you again. Faces hollow, voices cracked raw. They do not speak of victory. They speak of survival through disengagement, of slipping away under darkness, of preserving the idea of resistance even if the body must retreat. It is sensible. It is wise. It is too late. You understand the third truth now, fully, finally. Fear can be endured, numbers can be bent, momentum can be wounded, but belief, once shifted, must be seized immediately or it hardens against you. The Mongols believe they have been checked, not beaten. That belief is fragile. If it is allowed to settle, this day becomes a footnote instead of a fracture. You cannot allow that. You force yourself upright. The effort nearly blacks you out. For a moment the world spins, tilts, threatens to drop you into it. Hands grab you, steady you. You speak anyway. Your voice is hoarse, barely carrying, but it does not need to. Men are close now, very close. They see your condition. They see that you should not be standing, that every instinct for self-preservation has already been violated. You point, not with the sword this time, but with your whole body, toward the Mongol withdrawal. Now, not shouted, not dramatized, just final. The advance that follows is not a charge in any traditional sense. It is a collective refusal. Men step forward because stopping feels worse, because turning back would undo something sacred that has formed under pressure. The Mongols feel it immediately. This is no longer resistance, it is pursuit. They respond with discipline, but the valley betrays them again. Darkness confuses signals. Wounded horses stumble. Units collide in the press of movement. Arrows loose without clear targets. Your men close the distance where Mongol advantages dissolve. Blades find throats, shields break ribs. Fighting becomes personal again, desperate again. Somewhere in the chaos, word spreads, distorted, incomplete, unstoppable. The Mongols are pulling back. The Mongols are retreating. The Mongols are breaking. Each version adds force, regardless of accuracy. And then it happens. A Mongol standard falls, not captured ceremonially, dropped, lost in the dark. It should mean little. They have many banners, but symbols do not obey logic. They obey perception. You see the hesitation ripple outward, a pause where there should be motion, a regroup that comes too slowly, an order that arrives after it was needed. The valley exhales. By the time full night takes hold, the Mongols are no longer advancing at all. They are disengaging, carefully, methodically, but unmistakably, pulling forces back beyond the choke toward ground they believe will restore control. They leave their dead behind. So do you. No one pursues far. There is no strength left for that. The battle does not end with a roar, but with exhaustion settling like ash. Men sink to the ground where they stand. Some laugh once, sharply, then sob without warning. Others simply stare, uncomprehending. You are lowered down before you collapse on your own. Hands remove your helmet. Cold air shocks your face. Someone presses cloth to your side. Someone else is speaking urgently, but the words slide past you. All you know is that the sounds of Mongol horns are receding. That should not be possible. By every rule that governs war, this should have been annihilation. Instead, the Mongols have been checked, wounded, forced to withdraw from a force they outnumbered and outmatched. The impossible has occurred, not because fate intervened, not because numbers lied, but because choice, terrain, timing, and belief aligned briefly, terribly, against certainty. As dawn approaches, the scale of it becomes clearer. The field is ruin. Bodies lie stacked where space ran out. Weapons are broken. The river runs slow and dark. You are alive. That alone is improbable. Word will travel faster than armies ever could. Across mountains, across deserts, into cities that thought themselves already dead. The Mongols can be resisted. They can be hurt. They can be stopped, if only for a moment. That idea will cost you later. It will draw pursuit harsher than before. It will demand a price you have not yet paid. But for now, history has bent. You are carried away from the valley as the sun rises weakly over Parwan. The mountains stand unchanged, indifferent witnesses to a day that should not exist. Behind you, the Mongols regroup, unbroken but altered. Ahead of you, survival remains uncertain. Between those two truths lies the legacy of this battle. Not victory, not defeat. Defiance, proven possible.